Professor Bhim Prasad Subedi, Chairperson of University Grant Commission, Professor Kantha Makaju Shrestha, Vice-Chancellor of Kathmandu University, dignitary delegates from Bangladesh, India and Nepal, NASC faculties, representatives from conference partner institution, friends from media, and distinguished delegates. A warm welcome and namaste to you all. My name is Roshni Buzil. On behalf of the conference organizing committee, I would like to welcome you all on the third conference on public policy and governance in South Asia with the theme expanding public choices and market opportunities. This conference is the result of the 7 like-minded institutions from the Bangladesh, India, and Nepal, and it is the third series in the line, as it is the result of the several conferences that was held in June 2017 and July 2018, and it has a resolution to organize the similar conferences annually. Distinguished delegates, without taking much of your time, I would like to call upon Mr. Narayan Gopal Malego, Senior Director and Chair of the Conference Organizing Committee, to welcome all the delegates and shed the light on the theme of the conference.
Thank you, Rosaniji. Chairperson of this inaugural session and Executive Director of Nepal Administrative Staff College, Honorable Minister for Federal Affairs and General Administration, Professor and Chairperson of University Grant Commission, Professor and Vice-Chancellor of Kathmandu University, distinguished dignitaries, delegates, colleagues, and media persons, a very good morning. As the chair of the Conference Organizing Committee, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all in the third conference on public policy and governance in South Asia. Indeed, this is a moment to cherish, as we are institutionalizing the conference as a common knowledge platform. The conference is an initiative of like-minded institutions who act as a think tanks of Nepal, India, and Bangladesh, and strive for building knowledge base to support governments of these countries through education, research, policy analysis, and other relevant works. It was conceptualized and organized back in June 2017, and we have been doing it annually, reaching the third series of this year. For more than 3.5 decades, NASC as a premier institution is dedicatedly serving the nation by capacity building initiatives. We are mandated for the training, research, and consulting services. We are also organize conferences, seminars, policy dialogues, discourse, events, etc. for the transaction of knowledge for the public benefits. The Conference on Public Policy and Governance in South Asia this year is organized on the theme of expanding public choices and market opportunities. It is collectively organized by the 7 organizations of Bangladesh, India, and Nepal. Partner institutions of the round 1 in 2017 agreed to organize the conference annually in leadership of NASC, for which we are very much thankful to all partners. For reaching a prosperity on the foundation of a strong, inclusive, and transformative economy, and realizing sustainable development goals, a number of initiatives and efforts have been taken by our governments. This conference aims to bring together scholars, policy actors, and political leaders of South Asia into a collective platform and deliberate and share experiences on public policy and governance in the region. This will further provide an opportunity for mutual sharing and learning from each other. We have set threefold objectives as to provide forum to discuss and share practices as well as experiences of the public policy and governance, support to promote culture of evidence-based policy making, and identify issues and opportunities in the policy process in the region, strengthen the synergy and the networking of institutions working in public policy and governance. The conference also is an opportunity to realize the synergy of common knowledge and networking of the institutions working in the agenda of public policy, governance, and service delivery. The conference has 7 technical sessions to share research papers on the theme of public sector governance, sustainable development goals, inclusive growth, issues in public governance, subnational governance, creating investment environment, and contemporary policy issues in South Asia. 4 policy dialogues on the theme of creating investment environment, devolving opportunities reaching to people, sustainable development goals, where South Asia and the governance reform, and a high in plenary on the expanding opportunities integrating South Asia are there in conference. With these notes, once again, I welcome you in this conference, believing that your contribution in the mission of creation of exchange of knowledge in this region. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely appreciate the collaboration of the partner institutions from Bangladesh, India, and Nepal as co-organizations of this conference, and thank them for the cooperation extended. Thank you.
Executive Director of Southeast Institutes of Advanced Studies, ISET-Nepal, for his brief remarks.
So my colleagues from CS are here. So ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome all of you. My name is Ajaya Dixit. I work with ISET-Nepal. I'm very glad to be offering this brief remark on this 3rd conference on public policy, expanding conference on public policy governance and expanding public choice. And in its brochure, it talks about development challenges in South Asia, including vulnerabilities stemming from climate change. I do a lot of work on climate change, so therefore I'll focus my few thoughts on climate change. In fact, when we were getting registered, so I was talking with 2 of my friends, one from Hyderabad, one from Bangalore, and both of them were saying, so hot, so hot, so hot. All right. It was a bit of a news because we thought Kathmandu would be cool and then Hyderabad and Bangalore would be much more hotter. But then somehow things have shifted. I'm not going to tell you this due to climate change, but clearly things are changing. Now, as the conference theme rightly points, yes, the vulnerabilities stemming from climate change is becoming serious. And in fact, most of the climate models agree that the emission of carbon dioxide, global carbon dioxide, will result in higher rate of temperature rise. Particularly in our case, the snow lines are going up. The rainfall is replacing snow. Snowpacks are depleting. Ice storage have started to reduce. The rainfall itself have become erratic. We were supposed to have rains by 15th of Asar. It's almost so many days away. The rains have still failing us. Now these changes that we see in the weather, largely stemming from increasing concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, mixes with our own human-built arrangement, the agriculture systems, the economic development model, the path, the changing water use, rising heat in a very haphazardly but very fast urbanizing context. So the challenge future is becoming more complex. Now we all thought that climate change would be something in future, 2080 or 2100, and we don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, it's coming very near and very soon to the present. And many of us still think that the weather extremes have already been with us. We have dealt with it, people have coped with it, we have carried on with their lives, and of course, humans are so ingenious, our ingenuity will come about. There is somebody will offer some solution, there is technology which can offer a solution and so on and so forth. Yet, in October 2018, the IPCC's special report 1.5 was published, and which said, in fact, we don't have that luxury, that the window is closing very fast, and that by 2030, we may limit the climate, the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average. Otherwise, humanity is going to face an existential threat, and that we have till 2040 or 2050 to reach a net zero carbon emission. Unfortunately, we seem to be not in that pathway. The 2015 Paris Agreement was supposed to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius by 2100, but the real politics is very, very different. The US has indicated that it will withdraw from the Paris Accord. India and China are now the biggest producers of greenhouse gases. So clearly we need actions. We need actions that would help minimize the impact of climate change. But unfortunately, the actions that we have taken have been very, very slow, and the SR 1.5 target seems unachievable. And this is particularly worrying for countries like Nepal, because our share of the global greenhouse gas emission is pretty low. So therefore, we face the consequences of something that we haven't done. Yet, the climate's becoming more extreme. We're facing more extreme climate, and that's adding to our vulnerability. Clearly, we must do better than this. And of course, the conference platforms like this offer us that opportunity. And then to that end, I think all of us, individual households, the community, the market, and the policy actors must come together. And then we need to seek approaches that accelerate the mitigation as well as adapting to its impact. And this is where the issues of choices and opportunities, as the conference themes, I would argue, becomes fundamental and key. What choices do we have? What pathway do we take? What are the opportunities? Are these choices expanding? Are these opportunities sort of opening up, or they are closing? In 2006, Nicholas Stern, economist who studied climate change, said that the cost of inaction on climate mitigation would be far greater for future generation than the cost of actions taken today. If you don't take action today, the cost we're going to bear is much more higher. This observation is even more valid today, more than a decade later. We will pay not only with rising financial cost or allocation, but institutional failure, decline, rising inequality, forced migration, limited choices, and stunted opportunities. And this is very clearly also highlighted in the conference sort of theme. We need to take demonstrable actions at transformative scale through pursuit of adaptive policies, and that can respond to some of these emerging challenges. And by adaptive policy, I mean something that we do iteration and we change. Let me end by offering you once more, welcoming you, and then to highlight or to emphasize that this conference is an opportunity to examine these questions as well as some of the ongoing challenges of policy making and governance. And then these conferences and these thoughts and ideas perhaps would give us some of the innovation necessary to collectively achieve overall human well-being, and also in South Asia. Once again, welcome and thank you very much.
SK Tawfique M. Haque from North-South University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, for his sweet remarks.
Assalamu alaikum and namaste. Very good morning. Honorable Minister of General Administration of Nepal, Vice-Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Executive Director of NASC, and also Chairman of UGC of Nepal. So I welcome you all to this very important conference organized by South Asian institutes in different countries in Nepal, Bangladesh, and India. and this is the third time, and we are happy to see that we are part of it since last year. Let me start with my brief speech with giving an introduction about my institute and the organization. I'm coming from North-South University. I'm a professor there, and this is the first private university in Bangladesh, which is also the largest and topmost in the private sector. And we have a very prestigious institute called South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance, which is also the first South Asian institute in the area of policy and governance, and we are having different kind of educational program and research program. One of the education program that we are having in that Masters in Public Policy and Governance, we have regional students from Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Bhutan, and mostly or majority of them are from government officials of the South Asian countries. They go for 2-year master's program at NSU, and they finish their first semester there at NSU, and then they go to Norway, University of Bergen, for completing another semester, and then they come back for their third semester to doing research in their respective countries. We are very proud to announce that also. It is a good feeling for us that we have 4 alumni here at NSU working at NASC, and also 2 of the NASC existing officials are now studying at NSU in Bangladesh. And also we have a different kind of the research programs and regional publications. In last 1 decade, we have almost published several books from reputed international national publishing houses like Routledge, Springer, Palgrave, Macmillan, and others. And a significant number of scientific journal articles in impact factor journals, policy papers, working papers, data book, and other kind of publications on the issue of South Asian policy and governance have been published. The recently published 2 books with our partners in Nepal and also other South Asian countries, which were Civil Service Management and Administrative System in South Asia. It was published from Palgrave. And the other one, which recently we published, was Governance and Development Management, South Asian Perspective. The forthcoming book of us, which is coming, will be published from again Palgrave on gender mainstreaming in politics, administration, and development in South Asia. And our publications are used in different European and American university as a resource of graduate studies. So with that background, we just let you know that we are very happy because this conference goes fully with our spirit of South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance. And when we got that invitation last year that we were being invited to part of it, we are so happy to be. And last year, our Vice-Chancellor, he came as a keynote speaker. And we are seeing that every year it is going more in an advanced manner and very well organized. So the topic of this conference that we are having this year, this is also very pertinent from South Asian perspective. And as we know that the South Asian countries, they are not very well connected at the policy and the governance level. Even though South Asia is a very large region, but it is the least connected with each other in terms of economy and business and trade and development comparing to ASEAN and other regional blocs. And these countries have limited business integration with each other for various political and historical reasons. And the World Bank reports that recently published, it has been said that on average, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh's export to each other amount to less than 2% of their total exports. So understanding each other and having more business and development initiative is very important, and I'm sure that this conference will be adding a lot in terms of finding out the policy synergy and governance synergy of these countries. And specifically, we need to a little bit also focus on South-South learning and cooperation, because definitely we need our development partners from the North to come and work with us, but we can learn more from our Southern partners than the Northern countries. And probably we have realized this in last few decades, that copying the Northern models of development and trade and business will not solve all our problems. So we have to customize those things, the theories and also models of governance and development policies, and we need to see how we can learn more from our South Asian neighbors. The problems of governance in Nepal is more similar with our South Asian countries like Bangladesh or India than comparing with the developed countries. So from that point of view, this is a very important conference, and I hope that the next 2 days we will learn a lot, we will share, exchanges our views, and from there we will get a good policy kind of directions for the future. With that, I thank you all and wishing a great success of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Kantha Makaju Shrestha of Vice-Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Nepal, for his remarks.
Dear Honorable Minister, dignitaries, organizers, distinguished delegates, and participants. I have always loved to say that as a surgeon, when I think of policymakers, I feel nothing but deepest respect to their noble profession. When I use my knife as a surgeon, I treat one patient at a time, but you deal with thousands at a time through your diagnostic of evidence, scalpels of words, and suture of wisdom. The impact I have seems minuscule compared to yours, but nonetheless, the approach, the purpose, and the process are the same, I think. We both use evidences. We both need to work in multidisciplinary team. And we both need to serve with others and utter selfless devotion. Representing academia today, I would like to highlight 3 major points here. First is the need of focus on policy research and training. Solid foundations of policy research and trainings are prerequisite to have robust policy-making system in any country in the world. Research generates evidences, and training provides critical scholarly skill required for a sound basis of policy-related works, be it policy formulations, implementation, or evaluation. Universities are indispensable in this context. Academia is the spirit of a nation and the very fabric of development of any nation. We need to invest heavily in academia to help advance policy research and training. This should include not just dedicated policy-related academic courses for all-time or full-time students and scholars, but also tailored, as my colleagues already have spoken here, short-term or other programs that fit the needs and the time of policymakers for all levels. There are ample examples from the world how university and policy institutes have been the backbone of development by supporting overall governance in the nation. My own interactions with major universities and policy institutions in Korea has been eye-opener to me to realize the potential impact of such institutions. Second is the most important is of bridging the disconnect between academia and policymakers discontact. I prefer to repeat this in every relevant forum I attend. It is vital to have dedicated structure within academia and also within the government sectors to link these two communities that otherwise do not interact much except forums like this. At Kathmandu University, we have adopted the term of taking campus to the communities. This means we want to engage our faculty and students in the places where their knowledge is required and from where their knowledge emerges. we have recently established a dedicated unit to oversee community engagement that also explores partnership with various policymakers. I would request honorable representatives from the government and the dignitaries here to consider creating within ministries and government offices dedicated departments that has the role responsibilities of bridging with academia. We have already started this in local levels. The Municipality Office of Dhulikhel is working with our School of Law in elaborating local level policies and programs. Our School of Education is initiating conversations with local level policymakers in running collaborative programs for improving education in their schools. We have ample examples like that, but we need more in larger level. Besides direct impact to the programs and policies, such approaches also significantly enhance the quality of education and the capacity of our faculty and graduates. They will be well versed with the local and national context and also have ground level insights into the realities, opportunities, and challenges ahead. We have to create academic community that does not just generate and disseminate knowledges, but also implement knowledge. And we have to create a cadre of policymakers that depend on evidences and analysis for decision making. Third is the necessity of creating new modalities of partnership. Policy training and research requires multidisciplinary and multi-sectoral partnership. Our success lies not in bringing the community within the boundaries of the university. Our success lies in taking our universities to the nooks and crannies of the communities, including the places where policies are discussed, made, implemented, and evaluated. So, we should establish our departments and programs not just within the fancy rooms of a university, but in the corners and corridors of policymaking institutions amidst the communities and that are impacted through the policies we make. These partnerships should be formed and founded on trust, nurtured through openness, and sealed through alignment of a common vision. Distinguished delegates from Nepal and the neighboring countries, let us not forget that we have unparalleled indigenous knowledge from our history, culture, shared geography, and nature. Our values are similar, and our moral fabric is the same. We face similar challenges, but be it the issues of surrounding climate, be it the issues of trade, geopolitics, or other areas. So we have an opportunity to create policy programs pertinent to our unique contexts. Let us develop success models that help preserve our values, conserve our nature, harness our energies, mobilize our people, and create opportunities for new generations in coming days. Despite being blessed with nature, we still suffer from human miseries. This requires a renewed thought on our existing policy structures. If in doubt, let us test our policies in a small scale to begin with. Let a village be a model first. Let a town be a model first. And we can expand to the nations, to the region, and to the world. The decentralization of governance in our country provides an unparalleled platform for such policy and experiment today. That can take place only when we create programs focused on policy research and training. Let us create some academic courses, professional trainings programs, fellowships programs, and opportunities, collaborative research to make this happen. Sharing of knowledge and resources is not just a choice. It is today an imperative. either we have to succeed in unison or perish in isolation. I strongly suggest that this August gathering to come up with a concrete plan to make at least some sort of sustainable collaborative programs for capacity building in policy research and training. On behalf of Kathmandu University, I assure you of full support and an unreserved commitment for that. I am also pleased to announce the launching of our brand new master program in public policy this year, and welcome you all to participate in this noble mission. Finally, I would like to conclude by saying that it may not be very obvious, but the future of our generations lies in the hands of policymakers. Ultimately, we want to bring back home the hundreds of thousands of youth toiling in a foreign land. Ultimately, we want to see smiles in the faces of their spouses, children, and parents. Ultimately, we want to prove that this land is the land of gold, where every person toiling with good intentions helps espouse the blossoms of peace, prosperity, and happiness. It is in our hands to do so. Thank you so much. Thank you.
SK Tawfique M. Haque from North South University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, for his sweet remarks.